Now, we're going to use print statements to debug programs. This is very, very important, and we're going to talk about a really important concept in software development. In software development, when writing your code, you don't want to do it all at once. You want to take baby steps, ensure that one aspect is working before adding others. You don't even want to build a complete feature. When we build the project, remember in the very beginning, we built the project, we ran the hello world. We updated the GUI to add the additional buttons, we ran it. Why do you think this would be a good way to develop code? Think about that, write it down. Why would this be a good way to develop code? So this makes it easier, much easier to find errors or bugs. If you only have one place to look, there's only one place the error could be. If I wrote an entire file or entire feature or entire 10,000 lines of code, if I try and test it and something's broken, I have to look through 10,000 lines of code to find that issue. Now, with some of the tools that we'll show you and you'll learn, and the skills and everything you'll develop over time, you'll be able to whittle that down and say, well, if there's an error here, then I know generally to look here. But there's still going to be, even after years and decades in software, you're going to run into things that you say, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I'm having this bug. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. I promise I didn't change anything. You really just want to go small steps. What do you think are some potential drawbacks of a mentality like this? Think about it, write it down. So the biggest drawback, obviously, is going to be a longer initial development time investment. So when I'm writing the app for the first time, I'm going to have to spend more time writing the app the first time than I would be in any other situation if I were to just write the whole feature all at once. But the advantages far outweigh the disadvantages, because if I write the whole thing and run into issues, then it's going to take so much longer to debug it at the end. And it's going to cost so much more time and more money, and more things will be impacted. As you gain experience and as you learn additional tools, you'll be able to, those baby steps will get bigger and bigger and bigger. In this step, our baby steps were generate an app, build it. Update UI, build it. And update the UI meant adding 2 text views, converting them to buttons and building it. Create a listener, build it. Update the text, build it. In the future, that'll be all of that would be portions of one step, because you get more short-footed, kind of like in Santa Claus is Coming to Town. They put one foot in front of the other, and at first they start small, and then they start bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's how you will be over time. So for that, you need to have tools to be able to say, okay, well, I need to be able to know what's going on without having to update the user interface each time, because that's baby steps. So one tool that you can use is a print statement. So by writing print line and then adding some string or a string, we'll see this button was clicked. And now you can see inside of our log here at the bottom, it says system out, the button was clicked. So we can see that in a log of text. So we'll be able to look through that and we'll practice that. And you can see how that is helpful. So let's check it out. One thing to be clear about with this is that doesn't show up on the user interface at all. The user doesn't see this at all. All it does is show up down here. Okay, let's jump back into Android Studio. Let's add our print statement. Remember, baby steps. So we have our listener. And in our listener, we're going to go ahead and say print line, print ln. And you can see it italicizes. When I type it right, it responds and italicizes. If I were to change that, you can see it's big and red. Say, hey, look, there's something wrong. You can tell that there's a lot of awesome things about Android Studio, and this is one of them. IntelliSense not only prompts you for stuff, but it tells you if something's wrong. So if I were to change this to be something weird, it's going to say, hey, something's wrong. So there's print line. I'm going to be inside of the parentheses, and I'm going to say top button was clicked. Click this build, and it's going to build. So now when my top button is clicked, this click listener is going to be triggered. And then we're going to get this update, and the update is going to be right there. So if we come down here at the bottom, you can see number 6, log cat. So if I click log cat, scroll up, zoom in a little bit so you can see it. We can see it's selected. This is the device drop down. This is the emulator. And then you can see here, this is intro to Android, and it matches that. So saying this is the one we're looking at. Okay. So we can see all of this text. We can see it's not only doing our stuff, but all kinds of other messages. Let's look at our device. Go ahead and click here. So we click top button. And as you can see, let's see. There we go. So we got a few of those. You have this search field here. If we look back at our slide really quick, you can see that a print line will always have this tag, i/system.out. So if I search for system.out, you can see I clicked it 4 times, and there are 4 messages here. This will filter out everything that you don't need. You have top button was clicked for all of these. There's your output. So this is an awesome tool to be able to track what's going on in your code. So now your challenge for this is to put a print statement inside of your listener. So listener that you created, put a print statement in it, build it, and run it. Go ahead and pause the video and then come back and we'll check out the solution. Okay, so let's look at the solution. Very simple, just exactly what we did. Print line, button was clicked. And then when you click it, you should have seen an output something like this. Once you've filtered it by typing everything there, you can say you should be able to see the button was clicked. Awesome. When you feel comfortable about this, when you feel like you've reached this objective, remember the objective being that you can use print statements to debug your programs, go ahead and continue, and I will meet you in the next objective.